the sword, the mask, the legend. He isn't just one man. He's Zorro.
Yo, dudes, the Empire's pretty chill. Maybe you could, join it or something.
Hey everyone, Lucimus Prime here. So, it's time for a special movie review today, where today I'm going to be reviewing a film from 1998 directed by Martin Campbell, and this is a swashbuckler action film based on a fictional character created by Johnston McCulley, may he rest in peace, and this is the character Zorro, and this is a first installment, of course, I'm going to be reviewing, of course, which is none other than The Mask of Zorro. So, now, how was this film made then? So, this film was executive produced by Steven Spielberg. He'd initially developed the film for TriStar Pictures with directors Michael Salomon and Robert Rodriguez, before Martin Campbell signed on to direct in 1996. Initially, Michael Salomon casted Sean Connery as the character Don Diego de la Vega, and also Robert Rodriguez brought in Antonio Banderas to play the lead role, of course, of Alejandro Murrieta. And however, though, Sean Connery dropped out of the film and was later replaced by Sir Anthony Hopkins, and the film then began filming in January 1997 at a Studio Churubusco in Mexico City, in Mexico. The film was then released in the United States on July 17, 1998 to critical and commercial success, and it grossed $250 million on a $95 million budget. The film was even nominated for 2 Academy Awards and 2 Golden Globe Awards. When it comes to my reaction to this film then, so I saw this film a couple of years ago on Netflix, and I gotta say that I definitely really loved it. It's probably one of my favourite swashbuckler films of all time, and for me it's a really fun action movie which I definitely really love watching. So, now what is the movie about then? So this film of course features the original Zorro, which is Don Diego de la Vega, as he escapes from prison to find his long-lost daughter, played by Catherine Zeta-Jones, and avenge the death of his wife at the hands of the corrupt governor, Rafael Montero, played by Stuart Wilson. And he's aided by his successor, which is Alejandro Murrieta, played by Antonio Banderas, who is pursuing his own vendetta against the governor's right-hand man and falling in love with De La Vega's daughter. So, now what do I think is great about this film then? So, I think the film has a really great cast of actors. So, when it comes of course to Zorro himself, Zorro is most definitely my all-time favourite role of Antonio Banderas. He's a great actor, and I definitely think his performance in this film was amazing as Zorro, because he made him a very likeable character, one who, as well as also relatable as well, and it's definitely really fun to watch. And I definitely as well really love the way he uses his sword in the combat scenes in this film, because I think he was really brilliant at using a sword in this. He made it so authentic and believable. I think he did a really great job with it, all the swinging and the fighting. He was brilliant. When it comes as well to the original Zorro in this film as well, I also as well definitely really love Sir Anthony Hopkins as the original Zorro, who of course is Don Diego de la Vega. Sir Anthony Hopkins is on my list of all-time favourite actors ever, and I definitely regard Diego as one of his best roles of all time, because he's a fantastic actor, and he made Diego also a very likeable character. He's great, of course, as visual Zorro, because we see him in action at the start of the film, in the flashback. And I definitely think that he was brilliant in the role with the action scenes, and also has a great mentor to Alejandro as well. And the way he was training him, in my opinion, made him a lot more likeable as well. He was definitely a great teacher, and I think he was definitely really fun to watch alongside Antonio Banderas as well. When it comes as well to this film's villain, I definitely really love Stuart Wilson as Don Rafael Montero. And Stuart Wilson, in my opinion, is a good actor, and I think he was a great casting as Rafael Montero, because he made him a very ruthless villain, and at the same time as well, showing, of course, a human side to him where he cares, because at the start of the film, of course, he does accidentally, of course, shoot Don Diego's wife, of course, Esperanza. And he does, of course, show some regret for it, but he, of course, does not regret, of course, making Diego's life a misery, because he does take his daughter, Alina, and to be his own daughter. And then, of course, sends Diego to an underground prison, and then returning to Spain. So, he was definitely, in my opinion, a ruthless villain, but also, of course, showing a caring side at the same time, really. And that's definitely what I really like about Raphael in this film. Definitely, in my opinion, a great villain. And when it comes, of course, to her daughter as well, Alina, I definitely really love Catherine Zeta-Jones as Alina. That's definitely my favourite role of hers. As in my opinion, she's a very good actress, and I think she made Alina also a very likeable character as well in this film. And I think she had very good development in this film as well, just like Alejandro did as well. And that's what made her, in my opinion, a very good character. And I must also say, she had a very good Spanish accent for a role too, because Catherine Zeta-Jones is Welsh, just like Sir Anthony Hopkins is too. And in my opinion, she had a very good Spanish accent for her character, which was brilliant. That, in my opinion, made the Spanish setting a lot more authentic. When it comes to other villains in this film, I also, as well, definitely love the casting of Matt Lecter as Captain Harrison Love, as well, who is, like, of course, the side villain, of course, to Raphael. And I definitely liked him as well, put on my favourite wall of Matt Lecter, because I think he made him also a ruthless villain too, as well. And definitely a villain you can also find despicable, but also love to watch at the same time, because he's such a good villain. And that's what I really liked about him. And there's other good supporting cast members in this too as well. For example, Tony Mendola appears in the film as well as Don Luis. And there's other good actors in this film as well. Just to name a few, really. And when it comes to other great things besides a great cast, but this film, in my opinion, has a very good story, which I definitely really love because it's a really good revenge story. And, of course, about how you can train, of course, someone to be your successor. I definitely really think it was done really well in this film. And the film also has lots of really fun fight scenes as well. For example, the opening fight scene, in my opinion, is brilliant and sets the scene of the film really well. And the training scenes are also brilliant. And when we get to see Alejandro in action as the new Zorro, oh wow, it's just so much fun. And the film's final act, where we're fighting the villains, is both satisfying and awesome at the same time because it's just really fun to watch. And I also, as well, definitely really love the musical score in this, composed by James Horner, may he rest in peace. James Horner is, in my opinion, a great composer, someone who we unfortunately lost way too soon. And I will say that his music in this is probably one of the best of his career, in my opinion. And I think his music really helped, of course, set the Spanish setting out really well, in my opinion, too. And there's also a very good song in this, which I Want to Spend My Lifetime Loving You by Tina Arena and Mark Anthony, which is a great song and it fitted the film really well, in my opinion, alongside James Horner's soundtrack. So yeah, I definitely regard it as one of his best soundtracks, may he rest in peace. And also as well, other great things about this film for me is also the pacing, because the film is 137 minutes, and in my opinion, it's really well paced, because due to these fun action scenes and the fun moments the film has, it doesn't get boring, in my opinion, and it's paced really well because of that. So, despite, of course, being over 2 hours, in my opinion, it's really fun to watch. And in addition to that as well, one thing about this film which I think is also a highlight is it also has a very satisfying ending, because I've already mentioned the final fight with the villains. It's very satisfying to see, of course, main characters finally get revenge on Raphael. It's very satisfying to see, and also on to Harrison as well. And it was definitely lots of fun to see, in my opinion, really satisfying how he got what he finally deserved at last. And then, of course, we see Diego making peace with his daughter, of course, and he gives his blessings, of course, for Alejandro to be Zorro or going forward, and, of course, to marry Alina because he loves her. And after, of course, he passes away from his mortal wounds in the fight, of course, we then get to see an epilogue, of course, where Alejandro and Alina are now happily married, and they have a son on Joaquin. So, and they named him after, of course, Alejandro's brother. And that was definitely really great to see as well. And we got to see Alejandro telling his son the story about Don Diego's time being Zorro. I definitely really love that. Definitely, in my opinion, how you end the film. And as far as I'm concerned, that to me, he did not need a follow-up, because unfortunately, this film did get a sequel. And as far as I'm concerned, the film did not need one, because when I first saw this film on Netflix, I did not see any signs of sequel baiting whatsoever in the original film at all. I mean, if you want to see my full thoughts on the film not needing a sequel, then go check out my video on Movie Didn't Need a Sequel playlist, because I included this film in that series as definitely, of course, a strong contender for one of the big examples of film didn't need sequels. Because what came after this film, in my opinion, was very disappointing compared to this masterpiece of a film, which is, in my opinion, one of Mike Campbell's best movies. And in addition to that as well, I also, as well, think the world building for the film is also excellent as well, because we're getting introduced to lots of these characters, and also the settings, in my opinion, are really brilliant and very authentic, of course, for 1821 Spain and in 1841 on as well. So I think that they did that really well, in my opinion, with the world building and the setting up of it. And thought it was brilliant. And I also think the character development, in my opinion, was also brilliant too. I think, Zorro is definitely a character that deserves to be appreciated a lot because he goes through training to become a hero that he is, of course, Alejandro, with a mentor training him, and he's well developed, in my opinion. So I think films that are being made today really need to take a look at Zorro as a big example of a character who's well written, of course, because he's definitely a great example to us, in my opinion. So I definitely really love The Mask of Zorro. It is definitely one of my favourite swashbuckler films of all time, one of my favourite films of the 90s, and definitely, in my opinion, one of mine, Cameron's best films, and definitely my favourite role of Antonio Banderas of all time, absolutely. Yeah, definitely a really amazing film. So if you guys haven't seen this film already, then please go see it. It's definitely, in my opinion, a really amazing film. And when it comes, of course, to a score film out of 10, I would most definitely give this film a full-blown 10 out of 10, because personally I don't have any issues with the film. I think it's an absolute masterpiece. The only issue I could say is that unfortunately it got a sequel, which was not needed, because the ending of the film did not set up any at all. It just had Alejandro telling his son the stories of Diego as Zorro, and it gives a happy ending, of course, where he's married to Alina and the other son. So as far as I'm concerned, and there was literally no need to do anything else after this. But sadly, of course, next week I'll be rewatching the sequel, of course, to review it. So wish me luck with that, because it's a film that I find very disappointing. And why when it comes to Zorro, for me, there can only be one Zorro film, just one. So guys, this was me, of course, doing my review for The Mask of Zorro from 1998. Definitely, in my opinion, one of the best swashbuckler films of all time that I've seen. Really amazing film. So, you know the drill, guys. Be sure to give this video a like. Also, be sure to vote in the comments what you guys think of The Mask of Zorro. If you've seen anything in the comments below. Also, be sure to join the team by pressing subscribe videos coming in the future. And I'll see you all later.